The restaurant was quiet, candles flickering, soft music playing, and Daniel thought he was about to enjoy the happiest night of the year, his wedding anniversary. But everything changed when an older security guard slowly walked up to their table, stared at Emma, and asked one strange question. "Is that your wife?" Daniel nodded, confused. The guard leaned closer, lowered his voice, and whispered something that made Daniel's heart skip a beat. "You need to see this." Within minutes, Daniel would look at a photo that would shake everything he believed about the woman he loved and reveal a truth he never expected. People often believe what they see in the moment. A glance, a photo, a short conversation overheard from a distance. These small fragments can quickly turn into complete stories inside our minds. The human brain is wired to make quick judgments because it tries to protect us from danger, embarrassment, and betrayal. But the problem is that these judgments are often built on incomplete information. When emotions like fear, jealousy, or insecurity enter the picture, our assumptions can feel as real as facts. In moments like these, people stop searching for the truth and start reacting to the story their mind has created. Daniel experienced that exact moment when the security guard showed him the photograph. In a single second, the peaceful anniversary dinner he was enjoying with Emma seemed to collapse into confusion and doubt. The image on the screen looked convincing enough to create a painful conclusion. Emma standing with another man, smiling, holding his arm. It appeared to confirm a story Daniel never expected to face. His heart raced because the mind tends to jump directly to the worst possible explanation. The brain rarely pauses to ask calm questions in situations like this. Instead, it fills in the blanks with fear and suspicion. This reaction is very common in relationships because trust is such a delicate thing. When two people build a life together, they invest years of emotion, memories, and vulnerability. That bond creates deep love, but it also creates deep fear of losing that love. When something unexpected appears to threaten that bond, the emotional shock can be overwhelming. Even a loyal and loving partner can suddenly feel like a stranger when doubt enters the picture. This is why misunderstandings often happen, not because people want to believe the worst about someone they love, but because they are afraid of being hurt. In Daniel's case, the photo looked like proof of something painful. The mind tends to treat visual evidence as the strongest form of truth. When people see a picture or hear a short clip of a conversation, they often believe they understand the entire story. But a picture only captures a single moment in time. It does not capture the full context, the reasons behind the meeting, or the emotions involved. A photograph cannot explain why two people are together, what they are talking about, or what their history might be. Assumptions grow stronger when people begin connecting the image to their fears. Daniel could have easily allowed his mind to spiral into anger. He could have walked back to the table, confronted Emma publicly, or even ended the relationship in a moment of emotional pain. Many real-life relationships break down this way. A misunderstanding, combined with a lack of patience, can destroy years of trust within minutes. When people react without understanding the full picture, they often create consequences that cannot be reversed. Another important factor that fuels assumptions is the speed of emotions. Human emotions move much faster than logical thinking. When someone feels betrayed, the body immediately releases stress hormones. The heart beats faster, breathing becomes shallow, and the brain shifts into a defensive mode. In this state, people are not thinking clearly, they are reacting. This is why arguments, accusations, and emotional outbursts often happen before anyone has a chance to calmly ask questions. What saved Daniel from making that mistake was a pause. The moment he stopped and listened, allowed the truth to surface. That pause created space for the security guard to explain the deeper story behind the photograph. Instead of a betrayal, the meeting was actually an emotional reunion between Emma and the man who had saved her life many years ago. Without that explanation, Daniel might have walked away believing something completely untrue. This kind of misunderstanding happens in everyday life more often than people realize. A delayed phone call can be mistaken for avoidance. A short text message can be interpreted as anger. A private meeting can appear suspicious when seen from the outside. Humans are constantly interpreting signals, but those signals are rarely complete on their own. Real understanding requires patience, communication, and the willingness to ask questions before drawing conclusions. The story also highlights how easily fear can change the way people see someone they love. Daniel had spent more than a decade with Emma. They had built memories, traditions, and a shared life together. Yet one unexpected image almost changed how he saw her. This shows how powerful doubt can be. When doubt enters the mind, it can overshadow years of trust in a matter of seconds. That is why relationships require not only love, but also emotional discipline. Choosing to seek understanding rather than react impulsively is a skill that protects relationships from unnecessary damage. Trust does not mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it means giving someone the chance to explain before assuming the worst. Healthy trust allows space for conversation. When people communicate openly, misunderstandings lose their power. A simple question can reveal a truth that looks completely different from the assumption that first appeared. Another lesson hidden inside this situation is that people rarely know the full history of what others have experienced. Emma's visit to the security guard carried deep emotional meaning. For her, it was a moment of gratitude toward the person who saved her life during a traumatic childhood event. But to an outside observer, that same moment could easily look like something suspicious or secretive. This difference between appearance and reality is what makes assumptions so dangerous. Life is filled with moments that only make sense when the entire story is known. Without context, even innocent actions can look misleading. People might meet privately to plan a surprise, to help someone in need, or to revisit a meaningful memory from the past. When someone only sees the surface of that moment, they might completely misunderstand the intention behind it. Daniel's reaction could have taken a darker path if he had allowed anger to take control. Many people regret words spoken in moments of emotional shock. Accusations, harsh judgments, and public confrontations can leave scars that remain long after the misunderstanding is cleared. That is why emotional patience is one of the most valuable qualities a person can develop. The ability to pause, breathe, and seek clarity protects both relationships and personal peace. This story also reminds people that truth often unfolds slowly. The first version of a situation is rarely the complete version. When someone hears only part of a story, they are hearing a fragment rather than the whole picture. Taking time to gather the full context can completely change the meaning of what initially seemed obvious. The human mind loves certainty, but life rarely offers it instantly. Many of the most painful conflicts in relationships begin with incomplete information combined with strong emotions. When someone decides to investigate calmly rather than react immediately, they give themselves a chance to discover the truth instead of creating unnecessary conflict. Daniel's moment of doubt transformed into gratitude when the full story became clear. Instead of confronting betrayal, he realized he was standing face to face with the man who had saved the person he loved most in the world. The photograph that once looked like evidence of dishonesty became proof of something far more meaningful. It was a moment of appreciation, closure, and emotional healing for Emma. Moments like these remind people that perspective can change everything. The same situation can appear completely different once the missing details are revealed. What first looks like a threat can become a reminder of how deeply connected human lives truly are. Every person carries stories, memories, and experiences that are invisible to others until they are shared. Choosing not to jump to conclusions does not mean ignoring instincts completely. Instead, it means balancing instinct with curiosity. When people replace immediate judgment with thoughtful questions, they open the door to understanding rather than conflict. Patience allows truth to emerge naturally, while impulsive reactions often create problems that never needed to exist in the first place. Relationships thrive when people believe in communication more than assumptions. Love grows stronger when trust is supported by honesty and open conversation. When misunderstandings happen, and they inevitably will, what matters most is the willingness to pause and seek the full story before reacting. That small moment of patience can protect years of connection, prevent unnecessary pain, and reveal truths that might otherwise remain hidden beneath the surface of a single misleading moment in time. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions humans can experience, yet it is often underestimated in the daily flow of life. It has the ability to reshape perspectives, heal old wounds, and strengthen connections between people in ways that nothing else can. In Daniel and Emma's story, gratitude appears as a subtle but transformative force. When Daniel finally understands why Emma was meeting with Frank, the security guard who saved her life years ago, he experiences a profound sense of gratitude, not only for Emma's honesty and thoughtfulness, but also for the unseen acts that shaped her life long before he ever entered it. Gratitude in this context is not a superficial reaction. It is deep, reflective, and life-altering, the kind of gratitude that opens your heart to recognizing the countless ways others affect your life without expecting anything in return. The human tendency is to take everyday kindness for granted. People often focus on immediate challenges, problems, or fears, and in doing so, they overlook the quiet gestures and acts that make life possible. We live in a culture that prizes visibility and recognition, and yet the most meaningful contributions often go unnoticed. Frank's act of saving young Emma's life was quiet, uncelebrated, and completely selfless. There were no cameras, no awards, no public acknowledgement, only the knowledge that he had helped someone survive a moment that could have been tragic. For years, that act existed only as a memory in Frank's mind, unnoticed by the world. It is only when Emma seeks him out that the full weight of gratitude is revealed, illustrating the profound power of recognizing and honoring the hidden kindnesses in life. Gratitude also changes the way people perceive the past. For Daniel, the initial reaction to seeing Emma in the photo with Frank was shock, confusion, and suspicion. He assumed something negative had occurred because he was interpreting the situation through the lens of incomplete information. But when he learns the truth, that Frank is the man who saved Emma's life in a traumatic childhood accident, his perspective shifts entirely. Gratitude allows Daniel to see beyond the initial emotional response and understand the deeper story, appreciating the interconnectedness of past actions and present circumstances. It turns fear and doubt into awareness, compassion, and emotional richness, reminding us that even challenging or confusing situations can contain hidden blessings when viewed through the lens of appreciation. This story highlights that gratitude is often tied to awareness and understanding. People cannot feel genuine gratitude for actions they do not perceive or understand. Many moments of kindness in life go unnoticed simply because people are unaware of the context or the effort behind them. Frank's act went unrecognized for years because Emma had not yet connected the dots, and Daniel had no knowledge of the past at all. Once the story was revealed, however, the emotional impact was profound. Daniel's gratitude was not just directed at Frank, but extended to the circumstances and unseen sacrifices that allowed him to be sitting with Emma at that moment. Gratitude, therefore, is not only about acknowledging people, it is about recognizing the hidden web of contributions, risks, and courage that shape lives in ways that may not be immediately visible. The transformative nature of gratitude lies in its ability to deepen human connections. When Daniel understands Frank's role in Emma's survival, the relationship between them changes immediately. Gratitude bridges gaps, turning strangers into allies and heroes into cherished figures in our personal stories. It cultivates a sense of humility, reminding people that no one navigates life entirely on their own. Daniel could have reacted with anger, jealousy, or suspicion, but gratitude replaced those negative emotions with appreciation and a desire to honor the efforts that had gone unseen. This emotional transformation strengthens relationships, not just with the person whose actions are being acknowledged, but also with the individual experiencing gratitude, fostering empathy, patience, and a broader perspective on life. Gratitude also serves as a powerful antidote to resentment and bitterness. In Daniel's situation, the initial misunderstanding could have led to feelings of betrayal, which often grow into long-lasting resentment. The mind has a natural tendency to amplify perceived wrongs, making emotional wounds deeper than they actually are. However, the revelation of the truth, combined with an authentic sense of gratitude, transformed what could have been a source of pain into an opportunity for connection and emotional growth. Gratitude redirects focus from perceived loss or threat to recognition of care, courage, and love, shifting the emotional narrative from negativity to hope and appreciation. Moreover, gratitude encourages people to pay it forward. When someone experiences a profound act of kindness or recognizes the hidden sacrifices of others, it often inspires a desire to act similarly. In the story, Daniel's acknowledgement and appreciation of Frank's role in Emma's life creates an emotional ripple effect. Though he is not expected to save lives, the awareness of Frank's selfless action plants seeds of empathy, compassion, and responsibility within Daniel. Gratitude becomes more than an internal feeling. It becomes a catalyst for positive action, motivating people to look for ways they can contribute to the lives of others without expecting recognition or reward. Gratitude also enhances emotional resilience. Life is full of unexpected challenges, losses, and moments of fear. People who cultivate a sense of gratitude are better equipped to navigate these difficulties because they have a habit of recognizing the support, courage, and kindness that exists even in the darkest moments. In Daniel's case, understanding the gravity of Frank's act and Emma's journey to reconnect with him provides an emotional anchor. It reminds him that life is fragile, precious, and influenced by unseen acts of courage and love. Gratitude allows him to hold that perspective even amid stress, worry, or confusion, providing a sense of stability that pure logic or love alone might not offer. Another dimension of gratitude is its ability to reframe the way people interpret their own lives. Daniel's initial reaction to the photograph was rooted in fear of betrayal and loss. But once he understood the context, he realized how deeply intertwined human lives can be and how many unseen factors contribute to the present. Gratitude encourages reflection on the broader picture, fostering awareness of the networks of support, courage, and care that shape everyday experiences. This reflection builds a richer, more nuanced understanding of life, helping people appreciate not only the moments of joy, but also the challenges that were mitigated by unseen acts of courage or kindness. Gratitude also fosters humility, reminding people that they do not achieve everything on their own. Daniel's acknowledgement of Frank's past action reinforces the idea that life is often shaped by others' choices, bravery, and compassion. Humility born from gratitude reduces ego-driven assumptions, defensiveness, and pride. When people recognize the invisible contributions of others, they become more patient, empathetic, and open-minded, capable of seeing situations beyond their initial impressions or fears. Humility, combined with gratitude, strengthens relationships by creating space for trust, understanding, and emotional intimacy. The story further illustrates that gratitude is not a one-time feeling, but a process that grows as understanding deepens. Initially, Daniel is overwhelmed by confusion and suspicion, but as he learns the backstory, his gratitude intensifies. He is not only thankful for Emma's honesty or for the reunion with Frank, but also for the intricate series of events that shaped the lives of the people he loves. Gratitude is cumulative. It deepens with awareness and reflection, expanding from a single moment to a lifelong recognition of the unseen forces that contribute to personal happiness, security, and love. Gratitude is also an emotional teacher. It teaches people to pause, reflect, and see life from multiple perspectives. Daniel could have reacted impulsively, guided solely by fear or jealousy, but the unfolding story gave him a new lens through which to interpret the situation. This lens highlights that the world is rarely as simple as it appears at first glance. Gratitude encourages curiosity, patience, and openness, helping people approach complex emotional situations with wisdom and empathy rather than reactionary judgments. The story also demonstrates that gratitude can help heal relationships. In the moments when Daniel recognizes the depth of Frank's selflessness and Emma's intention to honor him, the experience reinforces his bond with Emma. Rather than creating a wedge of doubt or suspicion, the revelation and his ensuing gratitude strengthen trust, deepen emotional intimacy, and cultivate a shared sense of meaning. Gratitude, when expressed genuinely, has the power to transform a potentially negative or confusing situation into an opportunity for growth, understanding, and love. Furthermore, gratitude is inherently linked to recognition of time and effort. Frank's act of saving Emma was not a fleeting gesture. It required presence of mind, courage, and selflessness. Recognizing these qualities is a form of gratitude that honors not only the action, but also the character of the person behind it. When Daniel understands this, his appreciation extends beyond the act itself to the kind of human being Frank is, creating a richer and more meaningful form of gratitude. Gratitude also opens the heart to emotional vulnerability. In Daniel's case, experiencing this revelation allows him to feel fully the shock, the relief, and the joy intertwined with recognition of past heroism. This emotional openness strengthens human connections, allowing people to express feelings authentically, respond with empathy, and develop a deeper sense of shared humanity. Gratitude creates space for vulnerability because it encourages people to focus on appreciation rather than fear, blame, or ego. Ultimately, gratitude is a transformative lens through which life can be experienced more fully. Daniel's initial assumption about Emma and the photograph might have led to anger, suspicion, or even permanent mistrust. But gratitude reshaped the entire experience, revealing a deeper truth, fostering emotional intimacy, and honoring the invisible acts of courage that shaped the present. It demonstrates that when people cultivate awareness and appreciation, life becomes richer, relationships become stronger, and the human experience becomes more meaningful, teaching that even in moments of confusion or fear, there is always a hidden thread of goodness to recognize, honor, and carry forward into the world. Gratitude is not passive. It requires attention, reflection, and a willingness to understand. It requires looking beyond initial impressions, suspending judgment, and embracing the complexity of human experience. In this story, it is what turns a moment that could have been painful into one of profound emotional insight, reminding everyone that the simplest acts of kindness, courage, and care often have the most lasting impact, and that recognizing and appreciating these acts enriches life far more than any material reward ever could. Acts of kindness, whether large or small, have a ripple effect that often extends far beyond the immediate moment. In Daniel and Emma's story, Frank's quiet heroism serves as a perfect example of how a single selfless action can influence the lives of multiple people for years, even decades. Frank didn't save Emma's life with the expectation of recognition, reward, or fame. He acted because it was the right thing to do, and because he understood the value of human life. That decision, made in a split second under immense pressure, carried consequences that he could never have fully anticipated. Yet it changed the course of Emma's life entirely, ultimately impacting Daniel as well, and revealing the profound ways that small acts of courage and kindness can resonate through time. In many ways, the story demonstrates that kindness is a silent force that shapes the world. People often underestimate how much their actions affect others. One moment of courage, a kind word, or a thoughtful gesture can create a chain reaction whose full extent is impossible to predict. When Frank saved Emma as a child, he was responding to immediate circumstances, focused entirely on doing what was necessary to protect her. He couldn't have imagined that years later, Emma would remember his face, recognize him, and seek him out in gratitude. He couldn't have known that his act would eventually deepen the bond between Emma and Daniel, or teach them both the value of patience, trust, and understanding. The unseen consequences of kindness are often its most profound rewards. This story also highlights the selfless nature of true kindness. Frank did not act with the thought of gaining recognition or personal benefit. Many of the most meaningful acts in life are those that are given freely, without expectation of acknowledgement. When people perform acts of kindness expecting something in return, the impact is diminished because it becomes transactional rather than genuine. The beauty of Frank's action lies in its purity. He acted out of empathy and a sense of responsibility, and the results were beyond what he could have imagined. This is a lesson that resonates broadly. True kindness does not keep score, yet its effects can be monumental. Kindness also has a transformative power on the recipient. Emma's survival was, of course, the most immediate consequence of Frank's bravery, but it also shaped the person she became. Every human life is a series of moments influenced by the actions of others. Had Frank not been there that day, Emma's story might have ended tragically, altering not just her life, but the lives of everyone connected to her, including Daniel. The act of kindness created a ripple that extended into the present, highlighting that the choices people make in critical moments can define destinies. It is a reminder that each act of care carries the potential to change the trajectory of someone's entire life. Moreover, the story emphasizes that acts of kindness often go unnoticed at the time they are performed. Life moves quickly, and people rarely have the opportunity to witness the full impact of their good deeds. Frank likely returned to his daily life without considering how profoundly that moment would resonate. The unseen nature of kindness makes it even more valuable because it is not performed for accolades or recognition. It is done for its own sake. Yet even when these acts are unrecognized, they often leave a lasting mark, creating outcomes that only become visible years later. In this sense, kindness is both humble and powerful, quietly shaping the world in ways that cannot be measured in the moment. Acts of kindness can also teach others about empathy and human connection. Daniel, for example, learns through this story that the world is interconnected in ways he might not have fully appreciated. Frank's bravery and selflessness are models of human goodness, demonstrating that small moments of courage can resonate far beyond their initial scope. When people witness or learn about acts of kindness, it encourages them to reflect on their own behavior and consider the ways they might contribute positively to the lives of others. Kindness is contagious in this way. It inspires others to act thoughtfully and selflessly, multiplying the effects of a single action into a larger pattern of human compassion. The story also underscores the importance of courage in acts of kindness. True kindness often requires risk, sacrifice, or discomfort. Frank had to make a split-second decision in a dangerous situation, crawling into a car that was catching fire to save a child. Many people shy away from acts of kindness because they are inconvenient or require personal effort. But the story shows that when people overcome fear to do what is right, the results can be transformative, far beyond what they could imagine. Courage and kindness are intertwined because meaningful acts of care often demand bravery. Disclaimer: this story is written for entertainment and storytelling purposes. The characters, events, and situations in this narrative are fictional or dramatized to create an emotional and engaging experience for viewers. Any resemblance to real people or real events is purely coincidental. The story is intended to inspire reflection on trust, gratitude, and human connection.